Hi, y'all. Happy Troublemaker Tuesday. My name is Kara, and if you're new here, I am not a journalist. I'm just nosy, just really nosy, and I want to see justice for Charlie. We are a band of proud TP 2.0 troublemakers. Thank you, Tracy Martin, for your moniker. Critical thinkers, online investigators are all welcome here. We all pretty much know, like, every woman alive is like half FBI investigator. I mean, not the cash type, but the real ones, because most women, if there's something going wrong or it's off, I mean, if we know something's not right, I mean, we're just going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to get to the truth. And we're going to do that, clue by clue, stone by stone, if we have to. And I want to say a big thank you to everyone that subscribed this last week. I'm so incredibly grateful and appreciative and kind of mortified, but I love it. I love it. We're going to get to the bottom of this together. And I just want to say thank you. And we're going to keep digging. Okay, we're going to keep digging and asking questions. And we're going to get to the truth. And we're going to get to justice. But today I want to talk about 2017. I want to add a few small data points to Erika's weird gap year, that vacation year. I know Candace talked about it, and I'll drop that episode in if you guys want to go refresh. The year 2017 has always been a little perplexing and maybe a reprogramming year, in my opinion. And I think we should put that on the table. In my opinion, I think maybe it was the year when she was doing some reprogramming from the carefully curated LGBTQ political figure, and they decided to shift that to the trad wife, the Christian trad wife, and look, this LGBTQ thing isn't going to work. I think we need to maybe turn her into, her and Charlie into this version of Bill and Hillary. That's kind of how I see it. My opinion. But did y'all hear Candace a few weeks ago? She pretty much said the same thing. She thought the same thing, that Erika her image seems to be one of like political curation. Like they were grooming her, for lack of a better word. They were grooming her for, some type of political role. I don't know, Vance, Kirk, I don't know, something. But I wanted to add a few things to the 2017 discussion, mostly related to Barron's episode 83 and 84, because he went over this maybe allegedly 4 to 6 week trip or vacation that she went on in like March and April of 2017, which is very curious to me, even though Erika allegedly graduated from Liberty University with a Juris Master in Legal Studies in 2017. She somehow squeezed a whole European vacation and cathedral tour and fancy hotel and tea room tour into the spring semester, which is typically aren't final exams for the spring semester usually in April? I mean, shouldn't she have been like studying for that master's degree? I mean, she was piling up degrees at the time with her top academic GPA. Maybe she didn't have to study. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she was squeezing and studying at the bougie hotel, or at the tea room. I don't know. What do you guys think? But it's just very curious. I'm not sure how long she was on vacation. I'm guessing 4 weeks would be my guess. But if you didn't see those 2 episodes from Barron, the TLDR, TLDW, on these 2 Barron episodes, and I'll pop in the details so you can go watch them if you haven't, or catch up. But Erika had done these series of like Google reviews or Yelp reviews at the time. She was fond of doing them. She had like 52 reviews in this period. I mean, maybe she was just doing it in between studying, for her master's degree. But basically, she went to Italy and she toured a whole bunch of cathedrals. And I just want to point out one that really jumped out at me. That is her review of the Notre Dame Cathedral. I'm going to pin it And I'm going to read, I'm paraphrasing here. Well, I'm paraphrasing here. But she was like, talking about Notre Dame, she was like, it was okay, but it wasn't as cool as the Duomo because the architecture was different. Y'all, no. I am here to educate everyone who doesn't have the luxury of a lavish cathedral tour vacation like the rest of us. And no, I have not. I've not been to the cathedrals. I haven't toured either. I'm just a book nerd, and I have a knack for remembering like a lot of little innocuous details and random facts that don't matter until they do matter. And I've read books on cathedrals and the old world architecture and all that stuff because it's interesting to me. But to my point, the one she liked the most, better than Notre Dame, was the Duomo di Milan, which is known as the church built for the devil. Yes, the church or the cathedral built for the devil. Now, I could not find my book on the cathedrals or this cathedral, which is probably boxed up in the attic somewhere. There's books piling up everywhere. But I had remembered this fact, and it kind of struck me as odd. And let me tell you about the lore. And I'm not trying to get into the weeds here about religious iconography or corruption at the tippy top of the churches of all the different religions. My husband's Catholic, and I do go to Catholic church sometimes myself. I just find it very curious that she would prefer the Duomo to Notre Dame, which ironically burned down like almost 2 years after she left this review on April 15th of 2019. It's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. We have a terrible education system here in the USA too. I mean, it's not something that we're taught in school about these cathedral history. And even the churches really don't do a good job of that either. But here is the lore on the Duomo di Milano, built for the devil. It stems from the lore that, I've got to read this, sorry, that Duke Gian Galeazzo Visconti made a pact with Satan to complete the cathedral's construction in exchange for his soul, requiring the church to be filled with diabolical images. What type of diabolical images, might you ask? Well, a flayed saint, for one, holding his own flesh. Very gory, along with demons, snakes, dragons, grotesque faces, etc., etc. Now, this type of architecture has been packaged and taught to us as Gothic. And maybe it is just Gothic. Maybe it's just art that came from a depraved mind. Honestly, like I said, I would love to see all of these cathedrals, even the Gothic ones. I would tour it just for the art. But I do think it's curious that she made this mention of Notre Dame just not stacking up to the Duomo. As someone who's Christian, I'm Christian, I feel like I would prefer the angels and the cherubs to the monsters. I mean, and that's just me. I could not find my book, but I did find a couple of videos that I'm going to drop in here. I highly recommend this documentary on this cathedral tour that Erika took if you're interested in going deeper. It's really interesting, and it has a lot of great pictures of these cathedrals that she did tour. And I actually learned something new on one of them. I actually learned there's a relic, the Black Rock, at one of these cathedrals, that allegedly the story or lore is that this rock with 3 holes in it, it's just a smooth black rock, was held and thrown by the devil. He got mad at a saint and threw the saint. It goes over it in the documentary. But I didn't know this. It was the first time I'd heard that before. And, and most of us, we hear Black Rock and we just think of that one big company that seems to own a lot of things, right? Who knew there was an actual real Black Rock sitting in a cathedral in Italy? I didn't know that. We learn something new every day. But to me, this cathedral tour is just very curious, as she shifts her role from whatever she was, reality TV star to potential Christian trad wife looking for a Christian husband. Perhaps Erika is like a visual learner and she just needs to tour things in person, get a quick history and a cathedral lesson in Rome. I don't know. I'm just speculating. And now I'd actually found these Google reviews very early on. And honestly, I didn't think that much about them at the time. They didn't really jump out at me at the time. They didn't have the same impact. I mean, sometimes you just need more data points to make other things seem more relevant. You add layers, you add context, this type of thing. I know Candace had mentioned this, like she explained this so eloquently a couple of weeks ago as to the reason why she will like sit on tips for a while, because sometimes you need more information, you need more data for the tip to actually explain itself better, for it to land better. And so it's really interesting how this happened with the reviews. Early on I thought, yeah, okay, no big deal. Rich Nepo kid goes on extended vacation on mommy and daddy's dime, and she stays at fancy hotels, and she drinks fancy tea, and she goes to see all these fancy places. Okay, whatever, shrug. But then this whole Palm Beach file thing dropped, and the sleuths over on TikTok or X, honestly, I'm not sure who broke the story first, but whoever was doing their research sort of lined up the dates and realized, wow, that's kind of odd that Erika Franzfey was there at the same time that that Pete might have been there, and they happened to talk about this same fancy tea room at the Ritz. I mean, Barron goes into it. He's like, he drinks tea, I drink tea. Nobody thinks to go to a tea room, so it just became really quite curious. But I wanted to add even a crazier angle to the tea room and the Ritz and the fancy hotel she stayed at, especially with all the news and things dropping with the Fort Huachuchu and all these things that keep popping up with the 5 to 7 eyes, those eyes all over the place, keeping eyes on everything, and our allies that we have to work closely together with to create a better world for all of us. Just things like that come up. America, we have to work with France and Egypt and the EU to get things done for the betterment of everyone, right? But did y'all know that Paris was in a full-on heated political strife, riots at the time of Erika's vacation? Like, have y'all heard of Frexit? Like the French and that big French election between Le Pen and Macron? I mean, right after we were hearing about Brexit. But yeah, y'all, there was a whole chaos riot period time going on. Frexit. It was just political strife and chaos going on in France, in Paris, when Erika was there, leading up to the French election. Now, this was very similar to our Trump versus Hillary. Le Pen and Macron, it was pretty much the same thing. There was Frexit, and then there was Macron. And the French people, they were hitting the streets. And they were hitting the streets in force to protest. They wanted to leave the EU. They wanted France to stay France. And all this was going on in late March, early April, the time that Erika was there. Now, we Americans, y'all, we get a bad rap around the world for not paying attention to like what's happening everywhere else in the world. And, we're limited to the drama in our own backyard. And in our defense, I mean, it's partially true, but in our defense, like our media is pretty much unreliable when it comes to world news. And in our defense, they have been throwing like everything in the kitchen sink at us for decades. I mean, we've just got so much crazy stuff going on here. But I think a lot of us did hear about Frexit. Little bits and pieces were coming through in the feeds. And it really paralleled to what happened with Trump and Hillary. And they were dropping us bits because they wanted to make us aware that, hey, this crazy chaos could happen on the streets of the USA. I mean, people were just so divided. But y'all, in France, the French people, they can protest, y'all. I mean, they were out in the streets making a whole ruckus and wanting change. I mean, and we're talking like smoke bombs, I mean, fighting with the police. I mean, and all this chaos, it ended on April 20th, and known as the Champs-Élysées attack was on April 20th, where 3 French national police officers lost their lives. They were red-rummed by some degenerate with an AK-47. Do y'all remember hearing about this in Paris? Do y'all remember seeing the video clips and stuff on the news? I mean, maybe I will drop something in just to refresh memory.
O'clock on Thursday night, a man armed with an automatic weapon deliberately targeted police. One officer was killed and 2 were seriously injured.
He came out with a Kalashnikov. He started firing. He would have targeted us on the pavement and killed more people, but he targeted the policeman, and the policeman shot him down.
The gunman was killed by security forces as he fled the scene. The Champs-Élysées Avenue was evacuated and a counter-terrorism investigation launched. The attacker was known to police as a terror suspect.
The identity of the attacker was known to us. It has been verified. I cannot give that identity to you because investigations are underway, including raids to further our investigation, and especially to see if the assailant benefited from the help of accomplices.
Officers later recovered a car, guns and explosives during a search of the man's home in the east of Paris. The so-called Islamic State militant group has claimed responsibility for the attack.
Okay, I mean, we aren't talking like just a few people out with signs. I mean, we are talking chaos, like a whole army of chaos Muppets just rolled into town, and these agitators were doing their thing. I mean, the far right versus the far left were firebombs. People were attacking the police. They were pushing down barriers. They were tipping cars over. I mean, there was tear gas. It like really reminded me of like what happened on J6 here in the USA, as far as the crowd of, far-right people just completely misbehaving and being too aggressive in their protest. Now, I couldn't find any reports of furries gone wild, but I'm sure the furries probably went wild too. Now, I just find it super interesting and perplexing that a person can be sipping tea at a fancy hotel and not think to mention the political riots and the smell of tear gas in the air and smoke in the air that's happening, all the drama that's happening just down the street, around the corner, not too far. Like, you're not going to mention that in your review, especially if you're like a political science major. It's crazy, y'all. It's just incredible. Now, it's strange enough that she might have crossed paths with Pete, and I urge you guys to go watch Barron's 2-part series on this. But Erika even posts a review of the Champs-Élysées. I hope I'm probably butchering that, but I'm saying it right. Erika posted a review of the Champs-Élysées on April 22nd of 2017. That is 2 days after this AK-47 red rumming event where these people were red rummed after the major riots in the street. 2 days after this tragedy, Erika gets online and she just reviews the Champs-Élysées. She makes no mention of the victims. She makes no mention of the lead up, the chaos. She makes no mention of having to avoid the riffraff in the streets, all those crazy protesters. I mean, she was just sipping tea like on a regular Tuesday morning with a beautiful rainbow. What is happening here? Like, seriously, y'all, what's happening? I want to read her review. And I quote, "Loved walking around this area. This is a must visit if you are in Paris. Doesn't matter if it's your first or 100th time visiting. Great shopping, dining, people watching. A fantastic area to take photos as well. The old buildings are gorgeous and even the bridges are stunning. Keep your eyes open for the little locks all over the base of the statues on the bridges." Y'all, ma'am, like, who are you people watching? Like, rioters? Like, what's going on here? Like, who are you taking pictures of? Like, people flipping cars? Rioters in the streets? Are you smoke bombing? I mean, tear gas? Like, what's happening here? What is happening here, y'all? How are you just not going to mention that at all? Like, I am not trying to be like a crazy conspiracy theorist, I swear. But y'all, it is just weird. It is so weird. What do you guys think? I just wanted to mention this stuff and add it out here to the board, these little puzzle pieces for context of the never-ending pile of oddities and the many, many, many ways these people just do not make sense. They aren't acting right. They aren't responding right. I mean, this is not normal behavior. It's not a normal review considering the time period she was there. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, if you were on vacation, would you have mentioned any of this stuff? I don't know, especially like seeing it pretty much firsthand. I mean, like step over like trash on the streets from like a political riots and protests. I don't know. Especially seeing as how this woman has a degree in political science. I mean, wouldn't she have mentioned it? I don't know, y'all. It's crazy. And I just wanted to talk about it, put it out there, see what you guys think, see if you think there's any relevance or oddities, or am I just seeing something that is just irrelevant or not related? Because it feels related to me. It feels like it's all sort of tying together a tighter knot of what's happening. And I just want to say thanks again to everybody that subscribed and watched the video. I appreciate you guys so much. And y'all, I have some good stuff coming. I have some really good stuff coming. Erika has responded to us troublemakers, you and I. And I also found a new interesting thread on Lori that I'm still digging into and verifying and researching. And I'm putting all that nosy girl research together, and I want to share it with you guys and see what y'all think. But there's like some good stuff around the corner, some good gossip around the corner, some laughs. I want to thank you guys for watching. I love your comments so much. You guys are hilarious and so witty, and I appreciate it. It gives me hope. And I know we're going to get to justice. We're going to get to the truth bit by bit. We're going to get there. And I have faith in that. And I just hope you guys all have a beautiful day, a blessed day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.